Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. Coming up on this week's show, one challenge, two ends of the country, three species, and a four-wheel drive Ferrari. Let's start with the challenge, the Macnab. For the modern field sports enthusiast, the Macnab has evolved into perhaps the most challenging sporting quest in the world. To catch a salmon, to shoot a grouse, and to stalk a stag. From the wilds of Cornwall to the far north of Scotland, the UK offers fantastic sport from tip to toe. So why limit a Macnab to a single estate and a single day when you can have it all? Three species. The red stag, red grouse and Atlantic salmon are the ultimate in sporting quarry. So we're heading as far south as possible to bag our stag, up to the Yorkshire moors for our red grouse, and then on up to the River Thurso just a few miles from John O'Groats to try and hook our salmon. And to make things even more difficult, I've never shot grouse and I've never used a salmon rod before in my life. Finally, the Ferrari 4, the FF. This piece of automotive exotica has a 6.3 litre V12 engine producing 650 horsepower. It can do 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds and has a top speed of 208 miles an hour. It's a four-seater, it's four-wheel drive, and best of all, it's got plenty of room in the back for your guns and gear. The price for perfection, on the other hand, £272,000. We've got 3 days and 1,500 miles to cover to complete the Ferrari Macnab. So as much fun as it's been, we must leave the sand, sea and a seasonal tourist fest in Padstow and get some rest. Because tomorrow morning the clock starts ticking and we've an early start ahead of us to give us the best chance of a Cornish stag. After a sleepless night, we swap the Ferrari for a 4x4 with ground clearance and head off with pro stalker Scott Milne. In the vehicle, I put my request in. From our point of view, you know, a pricket would be perfect. Yeah. You know, put a little cull animal, you know, yeah, would be absolutely ideal. That never seems to happen, does it? Oh, great. Well, let's hope the gods are with us, because blanking here will really ruin my day. With the full moon lending a helping hand, Scott spots some reds deep in the valley. He takes us through fields and sets me up in a high seat with a block of woods away to my left. What he's hoping is the animals will pass below us as they return from feeding. However, as the lights get switched on, we see thick fog has settled all through the valley. No joy this morning. There's quite a bit of fog in the bottom of the valley, and Scott thinks that the animals probably moved back from the open fields where we'd first spotted them this morning into the cover of the woods without us being able to see them through the fog. But we saw a couple of animals out on the far hill. We've heard a couple of stags roaring in the woods. So what we're going to do is drop the rifle back to the truck and we're going to go and have a sneak through the woods and just see if we can come across a few deer, see them in action. We're not allowed to shoot in that particular block of wood, but we thought we'd go and have a sneak and see if we can find a stag or two. I'm keen to learn more about the red deer. Most of my stalking has been for hinds on the hill. I've never experienced the rut with its sights, sounds and smell. We can smell a stag that's just walked by. Really strong, musky smell.
It's almost like you can be like a German pointer. You'll be walking through the woods and then you're on mark, like, you know.
We can't see the stag, but you can see the damage he's doing all around us. And we can't blame this inquisitive roe deer for it. It's all reds.
There's a lot of light coming in, but as you can see, there's just nothing that's not been eaten by the deer. There's a real heavy population of red deer in here. The holly bushes are moulded like somebody comes in here and prunes them by night, like, you know.
So we've got one over here, haven't we? It's just a few inches high.
That's it. And every time any young shoots grow, they nibble it off. And the browse line, you can tell it's red deer in here.
You can see how high the line is through the trees.
Everything is all head height. You know, we can physically look through the trees. If you had to get down on your knees to look, you know it had roe deer or fallow deer. But when you can physically look stood up, you know it has to be a deer 4 foot to the shoulders.
As we get to the bottom of the valley, we hear another roar. And like sailors being drawn to the siren's call, we head in his direction. Scott takes us through this lot and I try not to think about the Ferrari's pristine leather interior. Rising up on the other side, we know we're getting closer. If my heart wasn't pounding already, thanks to Scott's swamp tour, it certainly is now. We continue to walk through the wood. There's a glimpse of some hinds, but that's all. We head back and consider our options. My fantasy scenario was that I'd be on the road heading to Yorkshire by lunchtime, but that is not going to happen. And an evening stalk would really muck up our plans, or at least any chance of getting our head down tonight. As well as embracing the finest sport Britain has to offer on our coast-to-coast tour, it'll also allow us to sample some of the local delicacies. Just sampling the millionaire lifestyle, the glamour of the job, sitting in a Tesco's car park eating a lukewarm pasty in the car. Rock and roll. After seeking some advice from Apollo the pointer, we hit on a compromise. It's still early, about 2. Scott controls the deer on a plantation near a stately home, and he reckons our best bet is to head over there. It's very different terrain from this morning, not that I'm complaining, and within 10 minutes a red calf is browsing on the ride in front of us. He hasn't clocked us, and it's a good job because at this angle neither Scott nor I can make out if it's male or female.
Not at the moment, it's about 96 metres.
I keep my Blaser R8 rifle and Zeiss Duralight scope combo trained on it.
Definitely got a black belly, and yeah, there's a pizzle, so in your own time, whenever you're happy, there's a safe shot.
Scott eventually gives me the nod. He's sure it's a stag calf, and so am I. I just need to let him get into a safe shooting position.
Lovely reaction.
He's hit and jumps into cover, but thankfully it doesn't take long for Apollo to find the young stag. It's not quite the roaring beastie we were pursuing earlier. To be honest, the time pressure we're on when Scott said he'd spotted a stag calf, it didn't take very long to make an executive decision that it might be a suitable choice to make, especially as in this area. Scott's explaining that the deer do a lot of damage to a nearby stately home gardens, and they've got quite a strong cull policy. So yeah, quite pleased. Quite pleased with a hint of relief mixed in there too. Scott asks if we want to take some venison with us. It's tempting, but we're a bit short of space. And that's one reason why I asked if Open Season could lend me a Blaser rifle, which breaks down neatly to a Ferrari-friendly size. The saddle mounts for the Zeiss scope allowed us to zero the rifle at home, break it down, and then rebuild it for our 2 outings. It's quite a feat of engineering, and it certainly did the job. Before we leave, I asked Scott about some of the big old boys he gets down here. Let's lift this up and have a look at it.
This is one of my little ones that I knocked over. The only reason I shot it, it had a real bad broken leg after the rut. In the rut they rut so hard, they push hinds, and with the stone walls we've got and the big rocks, that they just put their body on the line. And this poor guy smashed his front leg really bad. He was never going to recover from it, so I let him pass his jeans on and knocked him over at the end of the rut. Done him a favour really, but he was still coming up. About a 9-year-old stag. He's 19 points. That's the sort of calibre we get.
Yeah.
Maybe that one roaring we heard this morning was of this sort of stature.
I'm kind of pleased in a way. We've mission accomplished today, and for me, this is something to come back for another day. Something to aspire to in the future. So thanks so much for your hard work, Scott.
No worries.
Job jobbed.
Yeah, done well.
We're going to hit the road.
Yeah, good.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers now.
On leaving Cornwall, we're still on course for the Ferrari Macnab, and hopefully a decent night's sleep. Day 1 drawing to a close, and stag, after a fashion, in the bag. I have to say I'm really relieved that we managed to get something today. There was quite a lot riding on the first day. If we'd failed today, it just throws the whole story into turmoil. We're trying to sort out a plan B and everything. I didn't really sleep last night. I think I got about an hour's kick because I was just worrying about how it was going to go. But Scott was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. A pleasure to talk to. So knowledgeable about his deer. So passionate about his stalking. A real education just to walk in the woods with him. And I'm pleased for him as well as for us, because he tried so hard to make sure that we got our deer, and to get one on the deck. I think both he and I would have maybe liked a slightly larger one, but I'm no trophy hunter, and we've helped him with his cull plan, and management is the big thing for Scott. So really, really pleased with that. We've got a couple 100 miles to go now until our stop over for the night, and normally that would be a bit of a chore, but In this thing, I think it's going to be a bit of a pleasure. Our resting place is a hotel just outside Birmingham. We need to be at the grouse moor for 07:30, so it's another early start ahead. Morning, day 2, about 4:30 AM in a car park near Birmingham. Having just managed to wrestle contact lenses into eyes drier than the Sahara. We've got about another 100 miles to do this morning, so we'd best crack on. But as you can see, I've got my shooting best on today. Normally I only reserve a tie for court appearances and job interviews. Hopefully neither of those will result from this trip. Even if the guests at the hotel didn't request a wake-up call, they certainly get one. We start making our way north. Eventually the traffic evaporates and we have our first chance to burn some fossil fuel. Then the rainbow appears and it's on with the brakes for a photo opportunity in this stunning part of the country. Back to the job in hand and we need a grouse. I've never shot one, so I'm going to need some help from an expert. It's quite a good morning, it's breezy.
It is, yeah, it's wild.
What's the plan you've got for us today?
Well, this morning we're just going to take a walk through here, through these hillocks. It's quite a good piece of ground for walking up grouse, plenty of blind sort of skyline, so just a good opportunity there to come over a ridge and drop onto
Sneak up on a few.
Hopefully.
You're saying if it's open more, that's not so good for walking up?
It's not, no, especially at this time of year. We're into October now. We've already had 5 driven days on the moor, so it's a case of we need to get into these outside edges now. If we were to go into the middle of the moor where we've been driving grouse, we wouldn't stand a chance.
And we're going to be shooting over your dog today?
I've got one spaniel with me, but these grouse in here just forming a tight line, just walking through nice and steady. They should hopefully get up in front of us, and I've got my spaniel there to do any retrieving.
Great stuff.
If we get one.
If we get one. Oh, fingers crossed. Let's go and have a go.
Right up, let's go.
The weather, temperature and terrain are in complete contrast to our stalking, which was only 24 hours ago. It's hard going, and unfortunately the birds are lifting well before we're in range. Then I get my chance, and the birds continue on their flight path. It's a big blow. I just sense the opportunities are going to be few and far between, and I need to put all those hours watching Andy crow into practice. The grouse are really flighty.
Yep.
We've had one opportunity, which I've fluffed. Any advice on shot placement and what I should be looking at, or just get onto them as quick as possible?
As quick as you can. Ready at all times. Any time a grouse could get up, and you need to be on them, as you saw. Really fast wing beat. They're out of range in no time. So get straight onto them, swing through them, and best of luck.
Thanks, Jim. We pack up and head across to another part of the moor. The weather's even worse over here, and I'm glad I forced those contact lenses in. This is not the weather for glasses or cameras. Then I get my second chance. And we watch, and we watch, and we keep watching until... Down. It's down. Is that your bit?
Yeah, it is. I'm going to pick that, yeah. Right, let's do a bit of a walk round here and come round into that, and we can pick it on the way back.
Yeah?
Yep.
He's down though.
It's down.
Bloody hell.
Well done.
Let's go home. We work our way around and back, but there isn't another chance. All I really want to do is find that bird. The wind is unbelievable, you can see it is just raining sideways. I don't know who was more surprised, me or the grouse or Jim, that the bird was actually hit. And everybody, the dog, David, me and mostly Jim, are praying that it picks it up and that we've accomplished part 2. After 10 nail-biting minutes, we have our grouse. And even though some purists say I might need a brace, I don't care. I never specify bags, just species, and this one counts. A lot.
There you go, Dom.
I was getting a bit worried, mate. I'm going to give your dog a kiss in a minute. I love that dog. As I said before, this road trip can present opportunities to tantalise taste buds. And just like the Ferrari, I need some high-octane fuel to keep me firing on all cylinders. And in this part of the world, I know just the place. And it looks like they're expecting me. So yesterday, our attempt at sampling regional cuisine went pretty badly with our lukewarm cheese pasty. We're not going to make the same mistake twice. So we've come to this fantastic butcher's, Bryndon Addy's in Hayed Edge, just up the road from the Grousemore. And this is basically Holtam heaven. At this phase of our Ferrari Macnab, we've been joined by Chris Blackburn of UK Gunworks and his friend John McLean. They're not just here for the pies, although I wouldn't blame them. They've helped arrange the grouse shooting and the salmon fishing for the challenge, and most importantly, Chris is going to teach me how to cast. Refueled and relishing the fact that we've bagged our second species, it's back to Jim's to take in some breathtaking views and talk grouse moors. You were telling us that since you've been here the last few years, you've turned around the grouse numbers here. How have you done that, and what are the knock-on effects of that kind of conservation work?
Yeah, I mean, the grouse numbers have increased nicely on this moor, and it's just down to the main principles of grouse moor management, which are predator control, foxes, crows, stoats and weasels throughout the year, but more concentrating at springtime, the most crucial time of the year. Habitat management, we've reduced the grazing on the moor, we've improved the heather burning, and the habitat, as you can see this morning, it's looking good at the moment. It is. Application of medicated grit as well, that's helped a lot. It allows you to carry a stock of grouse and you're not building up strongylosis. Okay.
Well, we've taken one off the moor for you today, but it was pretty tricky conditions. I imagine that a lot of guns find it pretty contrasting to your average pheasant shoot, if you're not prepared for it.
When we do get people come who've never shot grouse before, they might have shot a lot of pheasants and a lot of partridges, but this is just a whole different kettle of fish altogether.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, when they get this wind up their tails, they go, don't they?
Oh, they do. Yeah, like rockets.
Well, talking about getting wind up the tail, I think we're going to have to do that. So thanks for your time, Jim. We'll see you again.
Thank you.
What a morning, what a great guy, and what an experience. I'm never going to forget my first grouse. We wend our way through this beautiful part of the country back to civilization. Stopping for some super unleaded, I suddenly feel a little overdressed. I'm in need of a costume change for the next leg of the Ferrari Macnab. So we're heading up from the Grousemore in Yorkshire towards Scotland, but we've got a problem. I haven't got any fishing gear. Hopefully we're going to solve that by paying a visit to the famous John Norris fishing superstore here in Penrith. Let's go and see a man about a rod. It's really more than just a shop, and I'm hoping that some fishing expertise, know-how, magic, even blind luck might rub off on me. I'm no stranger to fishing, but I'm really apprehensive that I'm going to make a real cock salmon of this last part of the challenge. I've never been salmon fishing before in my life. I need some help.
No problem at all, dead easy.
Talk us through the essentials, what do I need and how we're going to use it?
First thing I need to know where you're fishing.
Okay, we're fishing up on the River Thurso.
So you're going to need a 15-foot salmon fly rod, which is a double-handed rod.
Right.
Reel to match that. We'll balance that out with a fly line, selection of flies, leader material. You'll need to get you kitted out in the right gear, waders, wading boots, wading jacket, so you're covered for the elements.
So it's not as simple as a tackle box and a pair of wellies then?
No, a bit more complicated, but I'll make it as easy as I can for you.
Great stuff. Let's go and have a look.
No problem.
First, it's the rod. It does feel very light, but it looks, double-handed. Is that going to be a lot more complicated for someone like me that's never done it?
No, double-handed, it sounds complicated, but it's a lot easier than it sounds.
Okay.
It's easier to cast a double-handed than it is a single.
Well, let's hope so. Then the reel. Blimey, it looks like a winch. Incredibly light.
Light, big arboured, so you get a very, very fast rate of retrieve when you're winding.
Then the line and flies. Okay.
This line perfectly balances that rod.
Okay, so if you've got the wrong line, your fancy rod won't work properly anyway.
No, everything's got to match, everything's got to be really well balanced.
What on earth are salmon feeding on if they're going to be taking things like this?
They aren't in the river feeding.
So that's true, salmon don't feed when they're in fresh water?
No, they're not feeding in fresh water at all. Just trying to trigger their aggression.
Okay. My fabulous Mr. Men booties will have to go too if I'm going to stand firm on the rocks. All this amazing help and advice is not helping the nerves. I always thought we might have a chance of a deer and a grouse, but the salmon, that's in a different league. And if you want to know what this fish does to grown men, just look at James's eyes when he answers my next question. What is it with the salmon?
Salmon's probably the hardest to catch because they're not feeding in fresh water, and probably one of the hardest fighting freshwater fish you'll find. Once you get that take from the fish, you'll know exactly what I mean. Your heart stops, fish takes, then the fight starts, and it is absolutely phenomenal. The best feeling in the world. But again, they're the hardest fish to catch because they're not feeding.
So it's all about the challenge, so not only is it an incredible fish to fight, it's the challenge of actually catching it in the first place.
Because you can put a lot of hours in for salmon with not very many good results, but then when you do get your results in and you put the hours in, the results are fantastic.
So with all the gear, but still no idea, we leave Penrith on the last leg of our journey, and it's a long, long way to the top of Bonnie, Scotland. It's a quick mileage update. We've still got another 350 miles to go. And it's telling us it's going to take about 7.5 hours, which means we'll probably be rocking into our accommodation tonight about midnight, which is a pretty long day. But the car so far has been awesome. It's just eating the miles, really comfortable, cruises beautifully as you would expect, and yeah, there are worse places to spend 7.5 hours. David's car for starters. Wednesday morning and the last day of the Ferrari Macnab. We're staying at the world famous Obster Arms on the banks of the River Thurso. Before breakfast, Chris takes me down to the bridge for a bit of a pep talk and to enjoy the views of this famous stretch of water so often enjoyed by royalty.
And the line will come round onto the dangle, and then there's a back eddy where the line will go slack and the line starts coming towards you naturally.
There's also some advice from Doogie Reid, who's been fishing this water for 40 years.
I think we're a wee bit of tail on it to do the job, you know.
Next up, it's a crash course in casting. Cue the Rocky type montage of me getting stronger, casting longer. Maybe not. Let's get on with it and head to our beat, lucky number 4. We're quite optimistic this morning. The weather's lovely, the water's in great condition, and I think over 20 fish were banked yesterday. There's quite a lot of positivity. There was somebody who's been fishing this week who had never fished before and caught their first salmon, so it can be done. Whether or not the gods will be smiling on us today, we'll just have to wait and see, but we're going to give it a good go. Although it looks cool, we leave the Ferrari and rod on terra firma. I wonder exactly what might happen if we did try 200 miles an hour with that strapped to the bonnet. Like a boxer about to enter the ring, my trainer and manager manhandle me, preparing me for the first round. Tentatively, I creep out into the river. Fish are jumping all around me, and within 15 minutes I get a take. Oh! What a moment!
No!
What a disappointment.
No! I've just had a take.
I could actually cry now. What if that's it? What if that's the only fish that comes anywhere near all day? I'm actually shaking. Despite all the advice to wait when you get a take, my years of trout fishing mean I snatch at the rod and my salmon has gone. It's a long way to be here, but it all feels worth it now. Even without landing anything, I think this is a pretty special place to end the film. I don't know why I'm saying that, it's 10 o'clock. Got about another 7 hours fishing. Half an hour later, Chris shouts to us that he's in. He thinks it's about £6. What a moment, it's so exciting. People try for years to catch salmon.
Yeah.
Chris takes it in his stride.
Yes!
Well done, well done.
I want to weigh it. We'll cockfish, coloured. I think it was about, what did I say it was? I guess.
£4 or £5, £3 or £4.
Right the corner of the mouth, so good. Hooks out.
4.5, 5? 4.5.
That wasn't a bad guess, was it?
Can I touch it before it goes back?
Yeah. Notice the cape on its nose there. That's where it's been in the river longer. The cockfish tend to get a cape, like a hook. Still bleeding a little bit, nothing bad. What we'll do is put it in the water. Working it backwards and forwards to get water through its gills.
And he'll let you know when he's ready to go.
That's what I'm doing now. A lot of people put them back. They'll fight it for 15-20 minutes. They'll recover it for 10 seconds and let it go because their hands are cold in the water or something silly. Fish welfare is the priority. He's ready to go. Yeah. Please flew it away. Oh, good.
Worth the journey for something like that then, Chris.
Yeah, all good. Right, let's go get you one now.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of fish moving up, and you know that both flies are fishing over the top of fish, and you're in with a chance. And sure enough, Chris said he said he just missed one, and then 3 casts later, 2 casts later,
3 casts.
bosh, straight in. So fantastic. First wild salmon I've seen banked, and it just makes me hungry to get involved. I too head back into the water with a change of fly, and then, incredibly, I'm in again. This time, I make no mistake. Coming upstream, my heart is about to come through the front of my chest here. Have you noticed how the normal drivel that comes out of my mouth has stopped? I've never been so focused in all my life. The guys on the bank want me to describe what's happening, but I just can't. Whoa, feel the tail slap the line, can't you? After 10 minutes of terror, Chris nets my fish, and what a beautiful fish it is. I've done it. 3 species in 3 days from one end of the country to the other, in a supercar. I can't believe it. There we go. Just in the bottom of the mouth.
What's that?
Here it is. My first ever salmon. Here on the River Thurso. Beat 4. The Ferrari Macnab. We've done it. I can't believe it. 3 days ago. Didn't give us a hope. I'll keep hold of it for a while. I think he'll be quite tired. We see the salmon safely back into the water. No trophy for me, just a memory of a knee-trembling moment that will stay with me for the rest of my life. Something I'll tell my young son about when he's old enough to understand. Relief and torrential rain pour down on me. I've hooked a salmon, and now salmon fishing has hooked me. I'm straight back into the river. For the next few hours, Chris, John, David and I just grin at each other. Then Chris says he has a surprise for me. A chance to fish on the Thurso's private beat with head gilly Doogie Reed. What a privilege, and what a place. So what's a full spade cast then?
Well, it's a double space swing. It's not
Swing,
a swing
bosh.
and then swing. But I'm only half doing it,
Yeah.
I'm not doing it the proper way. And it is half, but spade fishing is mainly done in the river, spade casting.
We're fishing quite a special beat on the river today.
You're on the private beat, which belongs to Lord Thurso. The Queen Mother used to fish it when she was alive. She'd come up here every summer, stay at Castlemay, and the Thurso was her little treat sort of thing. She used to love fishing. And Prince Charles still comes and fishes now.
And it is a beautiful spot, isn't it?
It's a lovely spot. The private beat is unique on the Thurso. The rest of the Thurso is quite open and flat, and this is in a gorge, which is lovely.
Doogie's another one who still gets the salmon shakes, even after all these years.
It just makes your knees tremble, and I still get that feeling.
Even today, even after all these fish.
After all these fish I've got, I don't know how many I've got over the years, but I've never kept count. But I enjoy it. I love it.
At the beginning of the 20th century, the lock was dammed, meaning the river levels could be maintained for longer. But it also meant there was a huge obstacle preventing the salmon from reaching their spawning grounds, so a fish ladder was built at the same time. So these amazing fish have already had to come over 20 miles to get from the sea to here. They get here, they've got the fish ladder that's built in here to protect them from the flow of water and allow them to get upstream and into the loch. But their journey's not done here. They've still got to go all the way up into the hills behind me to their spawning grounds. They're an amazing fish. On the way back to Beat 4 for a few final hours fishing, we see a Scottish red stag. Our Cornish red was just 48 hours ago, but we've crammed in so much since then, it feels like a week. We may have completed the Ferrari Macnab challenge, but there's somewhere we feel we need to be in order to complete the journey. John O'Groats, half an hour north of here. There's another fuel stop to keep the V12 singing along as we head for the UK's northern coastline. The weather remains dry and bright, and the Ferrari looks fab next to the famous signpost. I feel exhausted, but so chuffed. So many people have helped me with this mad event. I still can't believe it's actually worked out. So here we are, John O'Groats, the end of the line for us. After 3 amazing days, we've done 1,500 miles, we've got our 3 species, we've done the Ferrari Macnab, and the best news of all, I've just been told it's 755 miles to drive home, and I can't wait. This journey began as a celebration of British field sports, but it's been so much more than that. It's been an opportunity to meet some remarkable people. People that have dedicated their lives to the preservation, improvement and management of our most fragile habitats, from ancient woodland to heather moorland to the pristine rivers of Scotland. These people are the true guardians of our wild spaces. That they share their knowledge with such enthusiasm is a gift to all of us. They deserve our respect, our admiration and our support, if nothing else to offset the carbon footprint of this amazing machine. To see Fieldsports Britain Extra with all the usual news and hunting YouTube, click the screen.